Welcome to our lesson where scripts in Wise SCADA will be explained. First, let's add a new script with New under the Script menu. In Scripts, we can define tags above the public void main function. We press Ctrl and plus keys together to define. The tag list appears before us. Let's add one more tag. Let its type be uint as well. Let's copy our first tag. And let's use the equals operator. With this command, every time this script runs, if the value of tag 1 is true, it will be false; if it is false, it will be true. Secondly, we will increase the value of tag 4 with the ++ operator. We adjusted it so that the tag's value will increase by 1 every time the script runs. We press the compile button. And we saw that it was success, meaning there were no errors. We can run it by saying run if we want. We have written our script now. Now let's run this script inside the screen. Let's add a button to the screen. Let's select the script as a function in the mouse down event in the events section of the button. We use tag 1 and tag 4 inside our script. We will see tag 4 here, and tag 1 over there. I started the runtime. When I click the button, it is seen that the tick mark appears. When clicked again, the mark disappears. At the same time, it is seen that the value of tag 4 increases by 1 with each click. We successfully created our first script. Now let's examine the security events of this script. When there is an error here, the script will crash. Let's write an error code. Codes written in scripts can cause a crash due to many reasons. There are no errors when we compile, because the syntax is correct. But when we run it, it will produce an error due to the command we wrote. And this error message can cause SCADA to be blocked. If we write like this, if we do not perform any error checking, our script will not work healthily. We cannot get the results we want. We created this error to show this. Now let's run this in runtime. As you can see, our error message has arrived. And it stays on the screen. Considering that this script works time-based and runs continuously, these error messages will come as a lot of messages on top of each other. When an operator is not present at the screen, these messages can cover the entire screen. There could be thousands of messages. We need to prevent this. We can use the try catch command to prevent this. If we write the command we wrote inside the try block, errors are caught inside catch. Now I am writing a message box here. Yes, even if it gives an error now, the error is caught within the script and shown to us as a message box. But this is not the situation we want either. Because this will also generate a message due to this code we wrote, and a lot of messages will be constantly formed on the screen. The correct approach is to create a tag of string type. Let's name it error. Let's adjust the size of the tag to be long. Now let's come to the script. Let's show it in the error tag instead of as a message box. But first we need to add the error tag. Now let's add this error object to the page, to the screen. Now errors will be caught inside the script, written to the tag we created of string type, and we can see that tag on the screen like this. We ensure that the script we wrote runs safely. We gained the opportunity to monitor error situations by transferring them to a tag of string type. We can delete our error from here now. Let our script not give an error. When we compile again, the red area on the left side turns to its normal color. When we click on the script title, parameters related to this script appear. Let's explain these. If it is a long-running script, for example, connecting to a database over the internet to fetch data, the process will take time. To prevent the SCADA interface from freezing during this operation, we must select the asynchronous option. However, we should not select asynchronous for every script because running asynchronously has a system cost. We should not burden SCADA unnecessarily by using this option in very fast-running simple scripts. Use it only when truly necessary. The done bit: if the script runs successfully without any errors, the tag we selected here will be true. If an error occurs in the script and the process cannot complete, the tag we selected for fault will be true. However, since we secured the script with a try-catch block, there is no longer a possibility of it crashing. Therefore, the tags selected here will not have any effect. What I explained applies to scripts where try-catch is not used. When try-catch is used, you must perform the error checking yourself within the script. For example, let's add tag 2 here to check if the operation was successful. Let's set its value to true in the last line inside the try block. If it falls into error, let's set it to false here. Now we can track whether this script completed successfully via tag 2. Scripts can do much more than just read or change tag values. Many other operations can be performed. C# and Visual Basic scripts used by Wise SCADA support all .NET codes. It has such tremendous capacity that you could even write a new SCADA program within the script. There are different methods regarding access to tags. What we explained here is direct access. We can access directly by specifying the tag's name and type. Or we can access using the structure shown in the summary. Let's simplify our script a bit so it doesn't cause confusion. Now let's write the tag 4 increment operation with the other access method. There is an important difference between these two methods. It works like this. Let's read the value of a uint type tag and assign it to a local variable named test. Let's comment out the line above and increment the test variable. Then, let's update tag 4's value using the Tag.Set command. Let's compile. It gave a minor warning regarding variable x. Let's run it. Yes, it failed. The reason was that we both defined it above and intervened manually below. We remove the definition above and run it again. It is seen that the value increases with every click. So, what is the difference between these two methods? First, when we define a tag as public, its value is read from the value column in the SCADA tag table as soon as the script starts and the main block runs. The value is written back to SCADA when the script finishes. All intermediate operations remain internal to the script. The second method accesses asynchronously, and the value is transferred to SCADA instantly at the line where the set command runs. We can summarize briefly. We need to define tags as public in simple and fast-running scripts. We must use asynchronous read/write methods in long-running scripts or those running on a different thread than the SCADA graphics. We will explain this topic in more detail in our second lesson regarding scripts. So how can we use these scripts? For example, we can run them by clicking a button on a screen. Or we can use them when an alarm occurs, or when a trigger fires. We can select a script from the Start Function section of an alarm. This window is standard throughout SCADA. We select the script from here, and it will run when the alarm occurs. We can also run scripts in 3 different places under Setup. We can select it as Runtime Startup or Time-based. We can adjust the execution period in milliseconds right below it. Finally, we can also request it to work while runtime is closing. Our first lesson on scripts has ended. Thank you for watching.